All right, and we're on air, and this is Richard, and this is Whitehack version of Longwinter. We're using the Whitehack system with some modifications we homebrewed, and we're running Luka Rezic's fantastic module Longwinter. And I have 4 great players with me, picking up from where we left off last week, and I'm going to start with Bethany.
Hi, I'm Bethany. I am playing Vas Resnick, who is the actual cousin of the character who's looking for his cousin, and former had a brief and probably not very great career as a prize fighter. Is here. Hasn't told anybody this, but has brought his best friend's ashes that he wants to leave in Brezim because she's from here. And mostly does a lot of tagging along and trying to get Casimir out of the things that he gets himself into.
All right. And switching over to Daryl.
Hi, my name is Daryl, and my pronouns are he, him. I am playing Razon Rustin, whose pronouns are she, her. Razon is basically a researcher and gossip columnist in her day job, but that's really a front for basically being a spy for a very rich lady who wants a lot of information and stuff. A part of that mission has taken me back to my homeland of Brezim, which I have not been to in 15 long years. I have also not spoken to any of my family in 15 long years, which was why I was very surprised to stop my brother from holding up a hotel full of rich people just a few hours ago. And that was not like fun. I had to kind of force my hand a little bit, reveal that I have an elemental spirit at my disposal, and also had to make some power plays as far as my connections to the secret police go. And I am skating on thin ice because my credentials are somewhat less than authentic. So we'll see how that goes as I go to talk with my little brother, or I think he was my older brother. He's my brother, and he's got a lot to answer for.
Yes. That, Jesse.
Hello, I am Jesse. My pronouns are he, him, and I am playing Aurelia Eigner, whose pronouns are she, her. Aurelia is a field archaeologist with contacts with relationships in a heretical church, as well as being a political radical. But what brought her to Brezim was mostly her concern for her friend Vas, who she believes may be a little too eager to help her cousin, whom Aurelia does not believe necessarily has Voss's best interests at heart. Being, a shall we say, a foppish aristocrat who's more interested in having a good time than looking out for other people, at least in Aurelia's eyes. Although last session we saw that maybe it's possible that Casimir is who he is because of the family that he has to interact with, and Aurelia found some sympathy for him in that. So that's basically why she's there. Although, the wonders of Brezim and adventure are also something that are exciting to her and may have pushed her to come as well.
Awesome. And finally, Sam.
I am Sam Zeitlin. I am playing the Honorable Casimir Kasimarek, he, him, a military noble who been legitimately described as a fop jock. who has come dragged his friends to the ski resort town of Brezim in search of his play cousin Victor Novak, who has mysteriously disappeared. There are a number of important leads. His Victor's mysterious spouse, whose name I can never remember or pronounce, Silva Yelnats Novak. Okay, so strike that. The handsome young man she sent to seduce Casimir, who will be dropping by later, and of course, the hotel concierge Electra, who proved to be one of the terrorists and who we have now sort of taken hostage to interrogate.
All right. So, I know where Rezon's headed. What about others?
So I think where we left it off, correct me if I'm wrong, is that the other three of us were interested in having a conversation with our hostage. If I'm not mistaken.
Right. So what? Just for us and for anybody watching as well, why don't we review what's happened so far? Where did we start off? And just in like 2 minutes, how did this whole thing get started? Yes, we are on air.
I guess as the originator to some degree, I should say something. So, Casimir received a telegram from I don't remember the exact details of how this went. I think first he received a telegram from Victor saying that he had like sort of bought a house up in this mountainous region, and that he this had some interesting, disturbing thing that he wanted to reach out to me about. And then I received a subsequent telegram saying that he had disappeared, and that also spoke of his wife, Ms. Yilnats Novak, which made Casimir suspicious because his knowledge Victor is gay. He then planned this kind of like ski trip missing person investigation, which is basically the most Casimir activity possible. And brought along his black sheep cousin Voss. Voss's didn't necessarily bring along, but came along Voss's politically inconvenient friend, the seer Aurelia, and Casimir brought his journalist friend Rezon, who has many agendas of her own. Rezon being a local of this place as well as a member of the secret police or something. We showed up at our hotel. We initially Rezon and Casimir went and Rezon got the file from the police investigation from the police here. They haven't gotten very far, and oh no. And then we came back to dinner, where there was a attempted armed robbery by old settler, who are the local inhabitants of the place, separatists or rebels or something, led by Razan's brother. These people were subdued, the brother was carted off, and the concierge is in our power. There are important things that I left out.
Anybody else want to add anything? All right, now let's review kind of where you're off to and what your current agenda is at just this moment.
I I guess one thing to specify is just that though Rezan did probably show up with Casimir and the others, ostensibly as a favor to him, she definitely had her own agenda as well, because she has to pop over to her hometown of Paydimna to hunt down a certain scandalous silent film star named Xena Blackwolf, who has an antique that my patron, Lady Zobor, wants. So ostensibly, while I am trying to help Casimir find his cousin, I'm also here to do a little bit of work on the side, as it were. And part of that means that I was eventually going to have to confront my terrible family that I've been avoiding for 15 years, and that happened rather sooner than later. So I know that Rezan specifically is probably going to be headed to the police station, where I'm going to interrogate my older brother Powell.
All right. 1 second. What about anybody else? I know that some people wanted to quietly interrogate your hostage, who's supposed to not look like a hostage.
Yeah. I don't think I had a plan other than, hey, this person knows a lot. It might be good if we could talk to her, and like maybe, you know, if we didn't turn her over to the cops, she'd be more inclined to talk to us. I think that was about as far as my plan went. It wasn't like to find out anything specific.
Right. Yeah, I was intrigued by the religious sentiments she expressed in attempting a magical invocation, and I'm interested sort of both in. So she made a ritualized appeal to Winterwhite, the mountain goddess, with the intention of drawing Casimir's blood, and so I was sort of like both as a scholar, kind of like intrigued by is this a live religion? What exactly is happening here? And also as a practitioner, interested on the magical side, and maybe a little concerned about this drawing of Casimir's blood bit.
I'm concerned about that, and then I also want to have my assignation with the Silva's Patsy.
Bashir. Right. And where would you, I know, Rezan, you're headed to the police station where you've ordered your brother locked up separately from the other accomplices. The rest of you have Electra, and where would you like to, would you want to keep her here in the dining room, take her somewhere more private?
I think my room, which is outside the suite, might afford us a little bit more privacy, although slightly less space if things get messy.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds wise to me.
All right. Okay. Let's start with Pavel at the police station. We're headed to the police station. Rezan, you are headed out into the night, as many of the police are still sort of escorting people to and fro from and there's still the small resort emergency clinic group that's seeing to people inside who, there were no serious injuries, but lots of people were quite upset and are being seen to people from the local clinic who have kind of come in sort of a small ambulance, really just sort of a mule with a white sort of Red Cross type. There would not be a Red Cross, but I something equivalent to the Red Cross type logo, something held over from old wartime medicine. And they're being seen to, and you're headed to the police station as the wind begins to pick up, and you know there's already been snow on the ground. Want to something real quick. See how this is doing. The wind starts to pick up. And the temperature is dropping. Some ways away, you hear a kind of a large crack. As it sounds like wood suddenly breaking, and it's some ways away. You also begin to hear, like very, very far off, the sound of wolves as you head over to the police station. Not unusual in the night around here. But wolves in winter you associate with a certain amount of either anger or desperation. You never want to hear wolves in winter. It's considered bad luck. But it's not a long stroll to they're very far away, and it's not a long stroll to the police station. But what about, in addition to just the standard hearing wolves in winter is bad luck, what about the howls of these wolves strikes you as somehow odd or off?
I think that growing up in such a small village as Paytonma, I am more than familiar with hearing the cries of wolves at night. And something that strikes me odd about this is a certain feverishness in the howling. It's almost as if the howls themselves are cries of pain, which doesn't make sense because they continue to call through the night as if they're talking to each other. But they sound pained and frustrated and almost mad.
Nice. It's not a long walk. I mean, resort towns tend to be small, and it's not a long walk over to the police station, especially since things are busy and hopping tonight. Raleigh is normally pretty sleepy in the evening outside of certain spots that are associated with late night clubs and dinners and spots near the hotel where things shut down closer to 9 or 10. Most of Raleigh is pretty sleepy by 7, especially as it gets cold. But it's lit up and gossipy tonight, and you see people standing on their townhouse stoops and whispering to each other as you approach the police station. Did we ever give that young officer who's supposed to be in charge a name?
Yes, his name was Lieutenant Afoot.
Osset, correct. And Osset is looking worried, and it's sort of standing alone. You know, there's not a sizable police force here in Vreli. But he's looking harried behind the desk, even though he's pretty much alone in the room at this point, as either people are off back at the hotels taking statements or doing whatever, or back in the telegraph center sending out reports. And he is standing behind the desk looking harried. And are you entering immediately, or are you?
I think so. I came here for one specific thing, so I definitely walk in and cross over directly to the desk where he's standing.
Yeah, and his eyes arch at you, and he sort of eyes dart around and making sure he's alone. It's like, Madam,
Lieutenant,
are you here to see that one prisoner?
yes, and I trust that my request for him to be separated from everyone else has been honored.
Of course, we don't have very many cells, so I put him in an office and left him handcuffed to a chair.
Could you please show me the way?
Of course. And he takes you back in there's really some sort of generic just office space that's sort of cut off from the area where the cells are. And there's your brother, handcuffed to a chair. He's clearly stopped trying to make the chair move across the floor, just as you and Osset came in line of sight. It is clearly not where anyone in their right mind would have left a chair, just sort of in the middle of the floor. Nowhere near a desk, nowhere near a table, anything like that. And he's kind of he's looking frustrated by the handcuffs. When he just sort of scowls at Osset. And had he recognized you before you sent him away yet? Do you know, or do you think?
I don't think so, because he never got a good look at me before I electrocuted him. So
Right.
And it's also been 15 years, and I left when I was a teenage girl. So
Right. I think he looks up at Osset and scowls. And then he sees you, and it takes him a moment, but then his eyes go wide as he looks at you.
then I turn to the lieutenant and I just say, would you please leave us alone for a moment?
Of course, madam. And he nods and backs out the door.
I take a moment.
You're sort of surrounded by glass here.
Like windows, or?
Yeah, just the office is sort of surrounded by small windows. Or not small windows, but you know, it's not solid walls all the way around. It's you have auditory privacy, but not visual privacy.
I think I walk over to one of the desks and I kind of, idly rifle the papers. And I don't really look at my brother, but I say, it's been a long time, Pasha.
Well, the date. Were you in the valley?
I was at the hotel that you just tried to knock over.
Well, I see you weren't helping us.
No, Pasha. No, I was the one who put a stop to you.
I don't know what put a stop to me, but I don't appreciate my sister taking credit for that.
Well, when your sister comes back home with the ability to throw lightning, maybe you should understand a little bit more about your position here.
A runaway, a traitor, and now a witch.
Yes, I just find new and exciting ways to disappoint you all, don't I? Why don't you tell me why you were trying to rob a bunch of rich people, a bunch of foreigners?
How long have you been here?
I got in just today. Quite the coincidence, don't you think?
And what brought you?
That is my business.
When you were growing up, did you ever see the valley look like this?
I saw the
In
valley.
December?
A lot changes in a decade and a half.
The snow, the weather, the wind. How does that change?
Time changes many things.
The winter has never been like this.
My brother was never the kind to try to rob people for their riches, neither, but you seem to have changed.
We were not here to rob people, are you? You're with that Kazmarak, aren't you?
I may have arrived with him, but I am here on my own agenda. Although the fact that his name is not unknown to you is very interesting.
The Kazmaraks are well known to anyone who knows our history.
Enlighten me in the old ways, older brother. It's been a long time.
Go look at that stupid wall they have in the hotel. The one that lists all the damn burners who came here and took us over.
And you think that this Kazmarak is like them? Have you met him?
Do you know how many Kazmaraks are on that list of the living and the dead?
Well, I certainly assume that if I were to punish all of my family for my parents' crimes, then there would be no more Rustons left.
Oh, what crimes do you think your parents have done?
What crimes have my parents done? They tried to marry me off to that vile, vile man. The reason I left was because I would not go with Nigo. And you did nothing. You sat there and watched as they promised me off to him.
Did you get a better deal?
A better deal? I went to the capital. I went to school. And look at me now.
You look like a baronial.
Yes, I look like a baronial. Because that is how hard I worked. I didn't have to go with Migo Tabak to be what I am now. I didn't have to do what my parents told me, and I didn't have to degrade myself like that, like you wanted me to as well.
And you come back here with a Kazmarak.
That Kazmarak treated me better than all of you did so long ago.
Then maybe we should exempt you.
Exempt me from what?
Protection. The ward.
What are you talking about?
Do you think they would keep it up forever? Do you think they would keep honoring Winter White the way they did when they first took us over? No.
Winter White is a myth. The old gods are myths. Why do you persist on this?
The old barons didn't think Winter White was a myth.
The old barons were just as foolhardy as our old ancestors. We are modern people in a modern day. Is that what you were doing? Were you not just robbing them? Were you intending to murder people for blood sacrifice? We
were
are not our
taking
parents.
the Kazmarak that we wanted here. The baronials will not do their duty and protect the valley. Then we should at least protect ourselves.
Pasha, a part of me had hoped that in this moment, I might have found the things that I wanted from you. That perhaps after all this time, you and I could have been friends again. But it seems that this place has got its hooks too deeply within you.
This place has got its... This is your home.
This was my home.
These are your people. These are your lands and your God.
There is no God. There is only man. And man makes his own fortunes.
He makes like he's going to spit on the floor. If I know you, if I knew a way to exempt you from Silva's wards, I would do it. Do you think that she married that pathetic, craven friend of his? Because she wanted to? Because she was delighted by it? No.
I know a thing or two about Silva Ilmaz myself. I happen to know that she has done a lot of terrible things. Is she someone that your gods hold up? Is she someone that should be admired and aspired towards?
Have you forgotten? Have you completely forgotten? We don't worship the gods because we admire them. We worship the gods to keep them asleep and at bay. What kind of baronial crap is that?
I can see that you mean to tell me nothing. That our bonds of family, beyond that, the bonds of family we had don't mean anything.
No, I can see the same thing. You've never loved our people. You've never loved our home.
Our people in our home have never loved me. Be that as it may, Pasha.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Be that as it may, Pasha, I will do you this one more kindness. I have some sway, and I can return you to our village relatively unscathed for this altercation. But you must tell me what you are intending to do.
Is it so obscure? Have you not? No, you went away. And our parents would never mention the wolf folk to you, would they?
No.
No, that was all Silva. Silva brought the wolf folk back. Silva made us revere the wolves again. Only the wolf folk know the secrets of keeping Winter White asleep and appreciative, at bay, at peace. And the damn baronials figured it out. And they're not going to do what they're supposed to do. So we're going to do what we can do to protect our people from their mistakes. They're supposed to sacrifice people they love. Every baron, except for this baron, has sacrificed someone they loved. And Winter White has not punished them in almost 100 years. But now this one is modern. And in 20 years of his reign, he has never presented a sacrifice. And so we're going to present a sacrifice on behalf of just our people, of someone the wolf folk hate. And then we will protect all the old settlers. And Winter White can take the baronials at her leisure. I am done talking to you.
I hope that this momentary exile that I am about to wreak upon you will be time for you to think about your actions, but I think my hopes might be set too high.
I think my hopes were set too high.
Do not pretend you had hopes for me.
I had hoped that one day you would return. You would see the error of your life choices and your ways, and you would again be my sister.
I am still your sister, whether or not you appreciate or approve of what I have done with my life. I think there's nothing more to say here, though.
There is nothing more to say. There are bars over the window. Would you leave it open?
I will do no such thing. I will have the silly lieutenant transport you back to Paydinma in an armored car so that you will not do any more harm so long as I am here.
I will tell our parents you said hello.
Tell them I'm very, very happy to continue to disrespect and disappoint them. I do love you, Pasha, and I wish you well. I get up and I leave.
As soon as you open the door, he lets out a deep, wolf-like howl that sort of echoes.
How do you like say the other prisoners react when they hear that or something?
You can't tell because you can't really see them from here.
I basically go over to the lieutenant and I explain like the arrangements that I would like him to make. I basically say that this person is unfortunately connected with the situation and has been duped and would be better served being transported back to Paydinma and sequestered for a time.
Of course, madam. I will put a priority on that tomorrow morning.
And if anything else should come about, I hope that you'll contact me at the hotel.
Of course, madam. Of course.
Thank you. I would also appreciate, could one of your cadets accompany me back? It is so dark tonight.
Of course, of course. I'll send one of the cadets. Cadet Wolfen. She'll be glad to walk with you. She's been agitated and annoyed by the what she calls the lack of action.
Maybe I'll be able to lay her agitations to rest.
Of course, of course. You know how the young are.
Thank you, Lieutenant, and good night.
And I think I said Wolfen, but I meant Vulpen. You know, Canids, they get confusing when you try to remember their Latin names. Back in Aurelia's room inside the suite with Electra. Was Electra conscious or unconscious when you brought her there? I'm trying to remember. And I will take your word for it.
I think she was conscious. I
Yeah,
think
I think
that-
Yeah, she had talked back to you guys a little bit.
yeah, like we had sort of agreed not to hand her in if she came with us and answered our questions. I think was how she ended up our hostage. Is that right?
Yes.
I mean, there was a point at which like we held knives to her throat, but that was the main gist of it was that we weren't going to turn her over to the cops if she would come with us.
Yeah, you told her to pretend to faint at one point, which I think is really
That's right.
So the as you move through the snow or to the shoveled pathway, you see that it's already filled with maybe a half inch, maybe a little bit more than a half inch of snow, the shoveled out portion. As with any fresh snow, it's hard to see really how deep it is since it's sort of powdery and unpacked. The wind is definitely picking up in the sort of encircled set of bungalows behind the hotel. There's a few windbreaks, but there's a few parts where it's very, very cold and whips around. And it's definitely colder, significantly colder than it was when you left your rooms for dinner, especially with the wind whipping. How are you kind of controlling Electra, keeping her from running away? What's this look like? Without being too obvious to any police who are coming and going or hotel staff who are coming and going.
I think one of us is definitely like standing between her and the police, like making it kind of reminding her without actually saying anything that like, yeah, I could just yell any minute, any second now.
This seems like a very Vosh job.
Probably someone also has a knife, but like I think I'm just I think I'm going for the like intimidating, but intimidating in that I could call the cops at any second rather than intimidating like I'm going to beat you up. But it's still intimidating, so like that's probably my job.
Kind of the glare, the hand on the shoulder, just look casual sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you look very, very angry.
Yep.
Why don't you check charisma, Voss? But yeah, why don't you check charisma? But I'd like you to do it at advantage. You've just sort of scared her pretty badly with everything that fell apart.
Yeah, that's an 15.
That's a what? I'm sorry?
An 18 and a 15.
So she is walking along very calmly towards the edge of your room, looking slightly cowed. When all of a sudden she just lunges towards Casimir. And she's almost at the door when she just sort of lunges straight at Casimir. What do you do?
Is the door open or?
It is not open yet, I don't think.
Okay. Doesn't work today. I think I just like I'm still trying to keep myself in between her and the anybody who might be watching, like grab her, but
you are an avenging angel.
Yeah.
I'd like you to roll strength, and you're at advantage for this.
Okay.
Just to kind of keep her. Oh, are you trying to restrain her, or are you trying to like put yourself between her?
Between her and
Casimir, or are you trying to pull her back?
I mean, it kind of just depends on what. I guess what I was picturing was trying to pull her back.
Okay. Yeah, that's perfect. In either case, I just wanted to make sure. Roll strength at advantage.
7 and 1.
7 and 1, a double success. Yeah, you've both got her hands and her coat sort of in one sort of hold, just with one hand, kind of around the small of her back. Does that sound about right for what you were going for?
Yeah, that works.
Yeah. And another hand on her shoulder. And I think as you do that, you feel that she's got something maybe like a blade or something kind of strapped to the small of her back underneath her her hotel jacket.
That
The
does
one
not
that's the kind of like a pantsuit jacket type thing she wore.
Mhm.
And you were right there at the hotel door and Casimir and Aurelia, you're both there, right?
Yeah, that was I think I'm like a little bit. I am impressed by Voss in that moment.
And Voss has her restrained. And she's sort of snarling. She's got this very snarly look on her face. Like she's just about to start yelling or something. And Aurelia, you've got a side door into your room, and I think that's kind of where you guys were headed. You're sort of in one bungalow suite.
Well, I thought that specifically Casimir had actually put me outside the suite. Correct me,
okay.
right?
Sorry.
Right? Wasn't that right, Casimir? That you didn't want me necessarily.
Yeah, got your own. I paid for something.
Gotcha.
I paid for a room for you, but it's not in our suite.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so like, somebody get the door.
Right. So I quickly pull out the key and unlock the door.
Okay.
And like I'm sort of, I start as I walk in, I start like puttering around and maybe like go to the little side table where there's a pitcher of water and some glasses, and like try to a little bit play hostess / good cop here.
All right. Voss, how are you Voss and Casimir, how are you sort of keeping Electra under control?
So I think Casimir asks Aurelia as a woman to do a pat down of Electra to make sure she doesn't have any other surprises.
I give you sort of like a slightly disgusted look, and I put down the pitcher. And where are we gonna set her? Do we I think
You have
maybe
a typical hotel room. You have some chairs, a small sofa, and a bed.
Right. So I think there's maybe like one kind of overstuffed chair positioned like at a corner with the sofa, and there's like an end, and there's an end table there. So I sort of set the glass of water on the end table, and I walk over to Electra, and I say, just a moment, you can have that, dear, but I've got to let me just see what you have on you. Just want to make sure
it's right here under my hand.
So yeah, I start patting her down. I take the knife.
You definitely find the knife. She's not really armed for anything else. There's not really anything terribly complex about the way she was hiding the knife, and there wasn't much else that she'd be able to hide weapon wise.
Anything else interesting? Papers, relics, the religious items.
There are a couple of strange amulets, sort of on a chain around her neck.
Any chance I know what those are?
They look a little bit like one looks like a wolf paw, and one is sort of a costume jewelry beaded thing that has what am I trying to say? Some emblems of snow, but old settler emblems of snow are not the lovely snowflake looking things. They're more like symbolic of wind and snow piles and
What and do I recognize what these items are? Like, is there a
yeah. Why don't you make an intelligence check?
all right? And as a field archaeologist, is there these things that might?
You're good at this.
Okay. So one of those and one of those. We were all selected. 13. A 15 and a 1.
Holy crap!
Which is
double success and they like right on the nose.
Yep.
Yeah, you are absolutely certain that one is the wolf one is associated with some sort of secret society among the old settlers that you've not heard about in some period of time. And it's known to baronials, but they have like the baronials think of it as some sort of a joke, but for the old settlers, it was sort of an allegiance of like elite protectors, both in the direct warrior sense, but also in the thieves, spies, assassins sense. And the costume jewelry, the beaded stuff is associated with Winter White, the goddess of winter in the mountains.
Do I know what this sect is called?
It translates to wolf folk.
So I sort of look at her and smile as I sort of gesture or maybe even lead her towards the chair and offer her the water. And I say, I didn't know the wolf folk were still active here in Brezim.
Casimir has taking her knife while you talk. By the way,
Yeah.
He's just
I think I just handed
playing
to
with
you.
it idly. But he's letting you talk.
It's a fancy I have. I like to think of myself as loyal to my people.
Loyal to Winter White as well, I see. You didn't learn that invocation simply as a prayer to be tossed off in a moment of tension.
We are not loyal to the gods. We try to appease the gods and get them to leave us alone.
And yet you were asking Winter White to draw blood for you earlier today.
No, I was drawing blood for Winter White to ask her for a favor.
I thought you wanted her to leave you alone. Asking for favors just draws her attention, no?
Oh, no. No. Winter White has requirements for leaving people alone.
What are they?
I'm sure it would bore you.
Oh, no, this is actually the most exciting conversation I've had since I got here. I would really like it to keep going.
Yeah, believe me, she whatever you can tell her, she will listen all day.
I would really love to know more about this. And I think this is like the most genuinely happy that Voss has certainly seen me on this entire journey.
Yeah.
Why in the world should I tell some baronials our secrets? Baronials who already know too much and can't be trusted.
Can't be trusted with what?
Can't be trusted to keep even the deals they agreed to take on when they claim this place.
What deal would you like me to make? Because I will.
Not you.
Well, I'm the one here. Maybe these fine fellows.
Not you.
What can I give you to tell me more?
You are utterly insignificant in the world in the scheme of things.
Well, that's certainly true.
We need the Baron to either do what he promised to do, what his family promised to do when he took this land, or we need him to step down. But until he does, we'll be protecting our own.
Do we know anything about this promise, or is this like something that is...
It is, yeah, it's not talked about. So
Mhm.
it's not a known thing.
Mhm. I sort of look over at Casimir just to ask, like, this is politics. You're more likely to know something about this than me.
However, make an intelligence check. The stakes or what you'd learn doing well in this intelligence check would be pretty low. It won't be specific,
Mm-hmm.
but it could point you in some directions. So go ahead and make that intelligence check.
It's just
I fail. I'm afraid I don't know anything about this, but I'm not going to say that. Instead, I'm going to change the conversation to what I am interested in. And I say, protecting yourself by stabbing me. And I hold the knife by its tip.
These things we hate and loathe, and we give them over to Winter White as a sacrifice to protect those she has made bargains with, when those she has made bargains with fail her.
Someone you hate doesn't sound like much of a sacrifice.
It is a small one. It is a gamble. It is not the new way. It is the old way. Or rather, it is not an old way. It is the new way. But no one's sacrificing anything they love, which is the old deal. Aurelia, you can go ahead and make an intelligence check, and we'll fill that in a moment. As you sit and quietly ponder and try to put things together.
Casimir will ask and say, is there anyone you love?
Casimir, pull out that reserve officer thing and roll charisma at advantage.
All right.
Because it seems like you're trying to provoke her.
Wow. Did that really happen? That did not work right. I think I didn't work right.
Sometimes it happens. I'm not sure what it is, but sometimes it does.
I can't quite tell. I can't quite tell what happened there. Whether it like didn't roll or whether it rolled and came up the same number. So actually,
if you didn't see the spinning animation, I would re-roll again. So the new one should see the spinning animation.
Okay, so I think I succeed then.
Okay.
Succeed very well. What I'm trying to do. So Casimir's next question is going to be. This is just a more elaborate way of asking, why don't you sacrifice someone you love?
Because I'm not in charge.
And if I hated you and I killed you for Winter White, would that protect all the baronials?
Oh no. No. No one who sides with the Baron is going to survive this. He's gotten warning after warning after warning.
Doesn't really matter. I don't hate you.
No, you wouldn't. You don't need to. Are you going to keep me here? Or are you going to turn me in?
What? I'm going to change the subject to avoid answering that question. Also, was that intelligence roll at advantage or not?
Yeah, it was advantage.
Okay, so then I get another second roll because that first one failed. But so I say so that second one also failed. So I say so I think I say to her, but what has the Baron done to you? I know that you don't have the best place here, and I would love to help with that. But what specifically has he done?
To protect any of us, his own people, the old settlers, the animals and creatures, Failed to protect any of it. This was not the deal they made with Winter White when they came here.
What deal? You keep on talking about a deal.
She looks at you in a very superior tone that only somebody who's 21 can muster. Almost down her nose at you if she was not being sort of like stood over. When they came, they promised every new baron, would sacrifice love of their own blood, someone they cared for. Someone they would otherwise intend to protect. But this new one, and there's not been a change in Baron since since shortly after you were a young woman, or even before you turned 10, Brezim. So the new Baron, the one she keeps referring to, new one, has been Baron for almost 20 years. This new one said no.
And so I sort of smile and I look over at Casimir and Voss. I say, well, isn't this an interesting cult?
This new one said no. And only the ruler can make the sacrifice.
So you want to become the ruler?
No, I just want to protect myself from his folly. So we make our own little sacrifice to protect ourselves
Who taught you all
from
this?
Winter White's fury. I'm sorry, didn't hear what you said.
Sorry, who taught you all this?
The wolf folk were the people who made these sacrifices before the Baron took over.
They used to sacrifice the ones they loved.
Yes, of our own blood.
Charming.
Oh yeah, you've got paper and pen, Jesse.
Yeah. I'm like furiously taking notes on all of this. Like, can you just and if she's probably, can you describe what the sacrifices look like? Are there invocations? Are there prayers? Is there a ritual altar? What? I she's taking this. Electra is clearly taking this very seriously, and like I think Aurelia doesn't. Like, to Aurelia, she's an interview subject now.
Right.
And she's just kind of like not good at it. Is what I'll say.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Give me 1 second. I'm going to give you a name. I want to make sure I have a name ready for this. There we go. Anything else you want to tell Electra?
Sorry, go for, I guess, are really, do you have more interviewing to do?
No, I mean, like I can keep on spouting these questions, as long as Electra's willing to answer them, and like Aurelia will go on, is willing to go on for hours if necessary, but I don't think we need to actually play that out in any meaningful way.
So when we're mostly done, Casimir will say, "So Electra, what should I do with you? I know what you would do with me, right? You would kill me. What should I do with you?"
It doesn't really matter. You'll kill me. Winter White will kill me if I don't kill you, or find someone else to make an appropriate sacrifice out of. And who knows? Maybe Silva's plan wasn't going to work.
What happened to Silva's husband?
Her husband? Her husband? Oh, you took that seriously?
Tell me more.
Oh, I don't know what happened to Silva's husband. He was just meant to draw you here. Isn't he a cousin of yours or something like that?
Yes.
Silva assured us from her time in the city that you would come running after him. Something you probably wouldn't have done for your aunt.
Why won't my aunt do for your sacrifice?
Oh, no, you were much, much better. Burners on your father's side, burners on your mother's side. And, you know, your aunt had taken on a different name when she became the dowager lady of whatever house she became part of. They didn't have the military history your family did.
If you're hoping that I'll kill you, you're certainly making progress.
You'll do it faster than the goddess will. Vas, I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Would you like us to sacrifice you?
That wouldn't do you any good.
Maybe not, but I can say it's all about risks, right?
How are you going to do it?
Well, you've just spent the past hour telling Aurelia all the details.
Whoa. I am certainly, this is not about practice. And she says it with like a kind of tone of disgust. Like, this is about knowledge, Casimir. We're not going to kill this poor woman.
Or like, play along, damn it.
I'm not going to kill this poor woman. She is so much more.
But you claim no sovereignty from the Baron, do you? You're under his protection, under his rule, under his laws. That sacrifice will do you no good as long as he's not protecting you. Silva freed us from the Baron's protection.
How did she do that?
We are sovereign to ourselves. We have claimed it and must only defend it. And when White comes to wipe out the valley, our people will still be standing.
You don't seem very sovereign to me sitting right here.
No.
You didn't seem very sovereign booking my room either.
One moment. Yeah, she lunges for the glass in front of her. This is an invitation for you to try to do something.
Voss, you want to go first?
I just grabbed the glass.
Why don't you make dexterity check? You're an avenging angel, so I'll let you do that at advantage.
I'm pretty sure my dexterity is not 18 or 20. Don't know what it is, but I don't think it's that. No, it's 10. Failed both of them.
All right. One sec. Yeah, she not only does it, she does it critically. One moment. Casimir.
Yes.
Wait. You seem to be missing your hit points.
How do I calculate? Am I missing my hit points? How do I
I
calculate?
believe you're second level, so you're going to do 6 plus 1d6. That was what I had in the playbook, I think.
Oh, interesting. Okay. We can roll that, but we don't need to roll that
Yeah.
now because she's not going to succeed. I'm going to use my saying no power.
Oh, very good, very good. That's awesome.
I've obviously been waiting for this. Like I'm like baiting her, and I just like kind of like step to the side and kind of pistol whip her, and she sprawls on the floor. So I have this for others. I have a power that once per session there's an so like a roll directed at me, I can negate it.
Because that would have been a critical hit with a glass. Yeah, you knock her down, and she screams in frustration. Her scream sort of turns into a howl.
Voss, let's tie her up and gag her. We won't want her to get loose before we can go and deal with this Silva woman.
Yeah, all right. And like, okay, Aurelia, do we have anything? God, should have maybe thought this through. I don't know what we're gonna do with her now, but
I think we can conclude our business this evening. She can lie tied and gagged in the bathtub until morning.
all right.
I think Aurelia's going to go along with this, but she's not. She sort of like kind of wordlessly stepped back when you pistol whipped her. And is not actively helping you with the restraining.
That's fine. Casimir doesn't really expect you to.
Yeah, Casimir, go ahead and make a strength check. You've got the better on her, though, so let's do this at advantage.
Okay, let me check my strength. It's a 10. Let's see how this
You have the
goes.
better on her, and you have Voss there assisting, I believe.
Yeah. Okay. I succeeded with one of them.
Okay. Yeah, you've got her sort of tied up. In the bathroom, and I assume you were gagging her as well.
Yeah.
And we're about to go to break, but I want to cut over really quick to Rezon. Who is walking with Cadet Vulpin, who is a kind of a tawny toned skin, kind of a reddish dark hair, a very dark reddish hair. It has a trench coat on over her uniform, extends a hand to you and is very firm handshake, looking very eager to get moving. And it's like, I understand, ma'am, that everything was taken care of by the time we arrived, and I regret that I was not able to be of greater assistance.
I kind of hold my hand out in a practiced baronial fashion and like place it in hers, and I say, "It is often the weakness of the young that they rush into dangerous situations. One day you'll realize that such times are meant to be avoided as best they can."
Well, I want only to do my duty.
Do you want to know the difference between a hero and a survivor?
And she's walking along unless you want to stop her.
No, I think we're not even looking at each other as we have this
The
conversation.
wind is picked up, and you're both sort of needing to sort of lean forward into it a little, just to like keep from getting the full blast of the very cold wind and the snow coming kind of straight at you. She's, what's the difference, ma'am?
One dumb decision. Oftentimes people want to be heroes, and oftentimes they make very dumb decisions, and then they're heroes forever, and the people that care about them have to live with the memory of a hero.
Make a charisma check.
My charisma's 14, so let's see how this goes. And it's a 14 on the dot.
Nice, nice. I think you're saying this as you sort of get up to the door of the hotel, and the desk is empty, and people are sort of meandering, gossipy, and confusion, whether they were at dinner or not, in the lobby. She opens it for you. She sort of extends her hand to you. And she's like, "Thank you, madam."
I take her hand again in that baronial manner, and I smile and I say, she's a detective, right? Detective Vulpin.
Cadet.
Cadet Vulpin. And I say, well, Cadet Vulpin, I hope that you shall serve this community for many, many years, not as a hero, but as someone who can do us some actual good. And I take my leave.
She slips something into your hand.
I think that I take it and I don't immediately look at it.
Yeah. And then she walks away as quickly as you do, just back out into the snow.
Kind of steal a glance in the lamplight of the front doors before I go in.
It is the fox charm much like the one she had on, if not exactly like the one she had on.
I think I'll slip it into my pocket and then go into the warmth.
How do you think the four of you meet back up in just abstract terms?
Maybe a bit of time to meet in the suite before Bashir arrives.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I wanted to picture being one of those Clue movie style things where I come in as they're carrying the unconscious body, and I'm just like, what is going on?
There's someone tied up in the bathtub. No one has any idea why.
Yeah, Casimir tried to be a hero.
And let's take a 10-minute break. Let's come back at 9:42 Eastern time, 7:42 Mountain. I'll see you guys then. Welcome back. All right. Quick die roll.
You keep saying that, and every time it makes me nervous.
It should, you know. I have to say it out loud because you guys can't really see me in the room rolling dice specifically. So I can't do the thing where I'm sitting at a table and just start rolling dice and looking at them and holding up my hand for a second. So you know, I have to verbalize the drama, or you don't really see it. So you're headed back to the bungalow space of Kazmir, ahead of Bashir, supposed to be getting there, meeting you. Correct? Is that
That's
understanding
correct.
everything correctly? Yeah,
That's
and you've converged. And Vas, as you approach, and everybody else is I assume catching each other up. Razan, is there anything you're not telling the group? You're refraining from telling? The group about your brother, anything you learned?
So I basically, I kind of like intimate that I interrogated the ringleader of that particular, like the particular like thing that happened downstairs. I don't really reveal like the familial connection. Like I just kind of want to keep that under wraps. And you know.
So you're not hiding anything you learned?
No, I'm very transparent about like it's a cult and they worship wolf people and they want to sacrifice like you, Casimir.
Or yeah, I was gonna ask her if she didn't bring it up, like whether she had any pre-existing knowledge of the wolf cult.
It seems like they appeared after I left, so definitely not. Like
you'd heard stories of something called the Wolf Folk,
okay.
but they're like an old secret society. They weren't like they weren't a thing that people were supposed to be anymore. It's a little like somebody telling you they're a member of the Templars.
They're not literally wolf people, says Casimir. The one that we met was quite a lovely young lady. If it weren't for her regrettable fixation on killing me.
Lovely, yes. How many times did she try to kill you?
3. Not that I'm counting.
You are always weak for a pretty face.
She was very interesting. I'll say that.
Can't argue with that.
Plus,
I'm trying.
the door to the bungalow is open. Just
That's
ajar, Voss, but you see it open.
Kind of look at Casimir. Did you leave the door open? That's.
I might have left the door open. It's the sort of thing that I would do, but it's
I know.
probably an assassin.
I mean, given that we've run into one already, yeah, probably.
Would you like the front door or the back door?
I'll take the front door. You can come around to the back. Please don't shoot me if you see me moving. Just, make sure.
Scout's honor.
All right.
So quick on my feet thinking. I'm thinking the back door is like a small kitchen. There's a nice sized living room on the ground floor with the kitchen, and upstairs are the 2 bedrooms.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but as you come in, gonna roll a die. As you come in, who's kind of what's the order here? You're going in front, and Voss is going in back. Cosmere,
The other way around.
other way. Okay.
And then I don't know if Razan, you want to come with one of the other of us.
Aurelia too.
I was assuming that Aurelia and I were going to hang back.
Yeah, I'm 100% hanging back here.
I'm not strong.
We all saw that vulgar display earlier this evening. Or was that it for today?
I will have you know that I do not like to put such displays on, but I would appreciate that you acknowledge that you did not die, specifically because of that.
Oh, I am very grateful, and it was very impressive. I hope you know that I have nothing but respect for whatever that was.
Razan, could I trouble you for your revolver?
Yes, of course. And I pull it out of my garter and like flick it open and show like there's 6 bullets in there, and I flick it closed and I hand it over.
Thank you. I'll try not to shoot it, but it's best to be safe.
I assume you're having this conversation a little bit of a distance from the door.
Yeah.
So you approach. Cosmere, have you been in the kitchen before?
Yeah, probably. Scope, I walked through the bungalow to make sure it was I was getting a good room.
Right. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is where the gift basket was,
Mm-hmm.
with the complimentary champagne. They have a lovely ice box inside too. Almost urban.
Charming.
The kitchen amenities, and it's still empty as far as you can see from the doorway. And the kitchen door was unlocked, or so was locked. Probably the way you left it. You may not have even used the kitchen door yet.
I see.
Voss, tell me about your approach to the front room.
Yeah, I try to I try to get as good a look as possible before actually going inside. And I think as soon as I'm inside, I'm like looking for places to duck behind if I need to.
Mm-hmm. There's definitely somebody moving around the writing desk in the living room area and sort of rifling through things.
Okay.
It looks like they've already opened one of your luggage, something you probably left downstairs, perhaps like gear.
Okay. And they're still doing that. Like I can still
And they sort of toss it around, and now they're in the desk.
Perfect.
The electric lights are off. They
Okay.
seem to have a small electric torch that they're using.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna sneak a bit closer and see if I can tell who it is.
Yeah. It's certainly, you need the light to be certain, but it certainly has the same build as Bashir. And as soon as you sneak a little bit closer, make a dexterity check.
Sure. Oh, I must have closed it. Hold on a sec. Oh, no, there it is. which I think is my dexterity. Too many windows open. Yeah.
Yeah, you got exactly your dexterity? Is that what you told me?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, you're able to get just in the edge of the no notice of you, even though looking anxiously towards the kitchen every half a second or so. But in the edge of the light, you see Bashir's face through things on the desk and looking slightly frustrated. Had you, you just got here. Had you really put anything in the desk yet?
I hadn't.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone else would have.
Looking frustrated that mostly what it is the stuff that the hotel leaves in there. The standard paper, documentation of occupancy and all the other things, blank notepads.
This world's equivalent to the Gideon Bible.
Yeah, and then the crap that people had left in there from previous visitors. Yeah. Probably a guest book, a logbook.
But yeah, I don't think anything belonging to any of us would be in there.
Yeah, I think the one thing that might be left there is a checkbook, but Bashir is showing no interest in the checkbook.
Yeah. Cool.
And is looking over anxiously towards the kitchen, but not anywhere towards you. And then flipping like eyes between the stairs and the kitchen, and then is about to stand up, having not really found anything in the desk. At which point he will turn around.
Okay, that seems like a good time to. Well, okay, yeah. That seems like a good time to rush in and like tackle him more or less.
Yeah, go ahead and make a strength check. And you were a pugilist, so let's make this an advantage.
Cool. 16. What's my strength? Yep, 16.
16? Awesome. Yeah, you've got him sort of pinned to the desk. And this is not subtle, I think, in sound levels.
No.
Because you're not necessarily muffling him. He's like, wait, and you hear Bashir's voice, Casimir.
I'll walk in and I say, just couldn't wait for that brandy, I see.
He, has anyone turned on the lights?
I'll turn them on.
He looks at you very sheepishly, and he's beat red in the face.
I say, I really was looking forward to being seduced, like any gentleman.
At which point he goes beat red.
But unfortunately, under the circumstances, I'm afraid we have to skip straight to the interrogation.
I just, whenever you make a new acquaintance, it's good to know things about them.
Yes. What exactly did Silva want you to do?
She didn't tell me. She just wanted me to, meet you.
Is that right?
So you just volunteered for the breaking and entering part?
When you first meet people, it's very good to get to know them, about them.
Most people do that by asking questions.
Well, it's helpful to have some pointers towards asking questions. It's how I learned about Victor's interest in antiquarianism.
Tell me about Victor.
He's a lovely person, much like yourself.
Were you close?
Rezan and Aurelia, are you coming in now that the lights are on?
Yes.
Yep.
And what'd you say?
I said, were you close? You're his type.
For a time, I'm sure. I certainly really enjoyed him. company.
Where is Victor now?
Well, I could use a brandy.
Who am I to deny a man of brandy? I'll pour him a brandy.
Are you going to let his hand free enough to let him sip the brandy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously like the last person attacked me with a glass, so like I'm prepared for that. He's not gonna be able to do that easily. I'm just gonna step back, but I am being genteel.
He sips it and sets it down and moves it back away from him. His hands are a little shaky. And it's like, I'm sorry, where was Victor now? That's quite good brandy.
It's a good question too.
Oh, I'm sure he's. Have you been by his home?
Not yet.
It's a lovely place on Bernerstand.
Bashir, where is Victor Novak?
He's at home on Bernerstand.
I think we both know that's not true.
It's not what the police said, is it?
No.
The local police are not investigative.
They believe that Victor has disappeared. I assume that if Victor is not answering the door, then he must at least be, shall we say, indisposed.
What did Victor tell you in his letter? He told me he wrote you.
Does it matter?
I just want to know how much you know.
Why would you think that you'd be getting out of here without telling everything?
I don't want to waste anyone's time.
Then you'd better get started.
Victor, according to Silva, Victor's at home, but not in the house.
What is that supposed to mean?
Well, I've never been below myself, not to the places that Silva and Victor were excavating.
I see. And this ridiculous marriage? Seems like Victor's tastes have remained quite the same.
Silva had suggested it would be my idea.
You are conservative here. Conservative everywhere, I suppose.
I'm sorry?
They're conservative everywhere, I suppose.
Right. Well, you know, it would be a nice, presentable thing if I suggested that Victor and Silva got married because they had so much research interest in common.
Why did she turn on him?
I don't believe she turned on him. She had her eye on him specifically very early because of his antiquarian interest and his relationship to you.
I see. How many does she have in there? How many men? And
Men?
how many wolves?
I don't know how many. I had no idea it was escalating to the point it was escalating to tonight.
So does this guy look like an old settler?
He has a little bit of that look, but clearly mixed heritage.
I think that Brezim cuts in at this point and like speaks in Old Settler, which of course she's fluent in, and says, Why are you lying about the wolf people? We all grew up here. We all know the stories.
He speaks like in very sort of broken old settler. It's just like my mother taught me old settler, but I was never very good at it. I heard stories of the wolf people.
It seems they're more than stories nowadays.
I knew that Silva wanted to draw Casimir here for business. She said business.
Business, yes, that's why they were going to kill him tonight.
That was about you?
And I turn to the others and I just say, he continues to act a fool, but I just don't believe it.
You can make a wisdom check there, Risen.
Did it go? It's a 1.
As he starts to protest what you said, what is the thing that suggests to you that he's not lying, that he was genuinely surprised by the attack tonight?
So I think that there's kind of like maybe he brought something that kind of like alludes to the fact that he was he was expecting to have like a romantic rendezvous, which means that like he was not expecting his mark to be dead. So
yeah, I think you see a white rose on the desk that was not there. It was clearly set down there.
Is this for me?
It seems inappropriate at this point.
I raise it to my my face and smell it. What do you think of Electra?
She's very efficient. A little stiff,
Not
but
that-
she's the youngest manager the hotel's ever had, I'm told. And the restaurant has certainly improved under her management, which, even though it's not her direct authority, I've always attributed to her.
What about her work for Silva?
Her work for Silva?
If you really weren't told about the plan to kill me and weren't told about whatever Silva is doing to Victor, then you should tell us everything you know about that mansion. Easiest way in, because we need to get him out.
It's on Bernestand. It's set into the mountain itself. I mean, not really the mountain, it's just a hill.
How does one get into the ruins?
The basement. The cellar. That's where they excavated through. I mean, it was never... I was never terribly interested in that.
Does Silva keep armed guards or something worse?
Well, I mean, she certainly knew many of the old settlers in town.
But do they stay there at night to deal with intruders?
I am not aware of... I mean, she had friends. She had that woman whose name I.
You had better hope that we find Victor alive. Boss, do you have any more questions for him? Given that we're going to go to a place very soon where he's spent a lot of time.
She told me Victor was alive.
Have you actually seen him alive? When was the last time you actually saw him?
2 days ago at breakfast. The letter was dated well after 2 days ago.
Oh, so we must have come by like, well before 2 days ago or well after 2 days ago?
Well before 2 days ago.
And the telegram saying that he was missing, when was that dated?
Yeah, sorry, that was
Interesting.
That was predated.
Okay.
It took you a few days to get things together to come out. And yet, it's that same sort of like odd guilelessness that Rezon, you're noticing that same sort of guilelessness in him.
I mean, there was no need for him to. Telegram was just a ploy to lure me here, so there was no need to abduct him earlier than necessary.
It's true. Well, all right. We know he was alive 2 days ago. That's good news.
Friends,
Aurelia, you also know he was alive, but in danger.
Right. I mean, we know. Right. I communicated that to everybody that as of earlier this evening, I don't know how much time has passed since before supper, but right, like as of at whatever it is, 3 to 6 hours ago, he was alive but in danger. Did he seem like was he comfortable when you had breakfast with him 2 days ago? Did he seem to have any cares in the world, or was he?
He was quite engaged with the. He was disturbed by something they had found.
Do you know what?
No, he seemed to talk about the fact that he was disturbed, but never seemed to want to say what it was he saw.
Something they found in the ruins.
Yes, that.
When did Silva report him missing then?
When did Silva report him missing? I don't know. I assume after that day.
Razad, do you know? You've seen the files.
Yes, I think this is when it could have. Silva definitely reported him missing about the same time as the telegram came in.
So more than 2 days ago.
But, as frequently the case when people have reported adults missing, it takes a while before anybody does anything.
Right. I mean, he was reported missing well before Bashir saw him at breakfast.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
These intrigues are really quite beyond me, but I'm curious what he found that had him so nervous.
I think we'll find out shortly. My friends, I think this is only going to escalate until we do something. I would like to go to Silva's tonight. I know that this will be dangerous and violent. Voss, I hope and trust that you will have my back on this.
Yep.
Razan, I apologize if I gave offense before, but you have many secrets, and it's clear that you have a lot of power beyond the power of the pen. Would you be willing to come to this mansion and to see what lies beneath?
Kaz, of course. I'm here to help you.
I am so grateful. And I really, I know this is not really your fight, and in general, fights are not really your thing, but Well, aren't you curious?
Oh, going into runes where who knows what might be there? I don't believe there's anything I enjoy more.
Aurelia,
But maybe I'll take 3 steps behind you.
Aurelia, these runes may have also been improperly tagged.
Oh, well, someone's got to fix that. I have a field kit.
Yeah, he's like amateur archaeologist. Horrible.
Antiquarian is just sort of polite society word for tomb robber, you know.
Mm-hmm. But don't worry, I'm very careful about maintaining provenance.
Well, Bashir, I hope you won't mind that we're going to tie you up and gag you and throw you in the secondary bathroom. The bathtub in the master bathroom is already occupied. With any luck, we'll all survive, and we'll be back here to let you loose by morning.
That's very comforting. Let's all make a dexterity check.
Everyone? Okay.
6.
9.
2.
Also a 2.
How many people succeeded?
I think all of us.
With that, all of you see Bashir start to sprint. He goes straight from like standing there shakily to sprint position early, and I think I'm not even going to have you check anything else. Between 4 of you,
I'm blocking the doorway. So.
you can stop that from happening.
I would like to trip him. Just stick out my foot and trip him.
Yeah, he goes sprawling.
I like that image.
He's got Casimir behind him, Vas before him. Brezim, do you react in any particular sort of way?
I mean, I go for my flashbang with the demon in it, so
Yeah,
if it really comes to that.
he's on the ground and crawling before he can even right himself. And well, then bondage it is.
Yeah. Well, I'll tuck the rose into his lapel.
Do you want to move straight to Bernerstund Hill?
Can I ask a mechanical question?
Yes.
First? So I think I would I know that typically it takes a certain amount of in-game time, like an arrest, to swap spells. But
yeah, that would need to be done in the morning.
That would need to be done in the morning. Okay. So in that case, maybe before we head out, then I'd like to I say to them, I think maybe it's best before we set out if I do a quick foretelling to discover what we might find when we arrive.
Sounds good.
Good. One moment. You're not doing anything terribly risky immediately. So why don't you roll a d6, Aurelia?
Okay.
We'll treat it as a d3.
So that's a 1.
So what's the first? Are you doing tarot or whatever the divinatory cards?
So I actually think I'm going to try something a little different this time.
Yes. Okay.
I think I took her winter white beads. If we can sort of retcon that.
Is that? Oh yeah.
Electra had those winter white beads.
Electra had those winter white beads.
If not, I was going to say before we leave, we could go in and grab her charm, so we can just do it now.
Right. Yeah. So I think if we can retcon that I took both the winter white beads and the wolf's paw. I think I'm trying to do a form of divination that maybe I've heard about that taps into the power of Winter White.
Okay.
Which I imagine is somewhat higher risk given what we've learned about Winter White thus far.
Right.
But possibly also will give us access to more under the circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's like a kind of like a numerology thing where like I count bead, like there are certain counts, and I wait for like textures or responses from depending upon which bead I fall on at different counts to ask different questions, and that sort of divination.
This is also potentially a good time for you to bring in your divine connection power there, Casimir.
Oh.
Potentially in conjunction with this. But let's start with as you count beads.
Mm-hmm. All right.
What is your first question that you're looking for?
All right. And so I think the first question is just, what does Burner Stunned hide? And is this going to cost you one hit? Like, what's the?
This is not going to cost you anything yet.
Okay.
Just for that first question.
Okay. So yeah, what does Burner Stunned hide?
After this first question, unless there is some intervention, there will be a 1 hit point. No, let's do a 1 hit point for after this, and it'll go up by 1
for each question,
unless you want to try a saving throw to keep it at 1.
Okay, well, let's start with the free question then, and say, what does Burner Stunned hide?
And how do you get the information after you finish counting the beads?
So I think it's when it's the way it sort of works is that there are sort of like different kind. If the magic is working, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are. I should be getting certain kinds of feedback. Some of it will be which bead it falls on. Like, is it a shard of ice? Is it a snowdrift? Some of it though will hopefully there's also a temperature and pulses. And like this is sort of experimental for me. Like this is something where this is a technique I have read about in books, but that I have never actually tried myself.
This is, I think you're counting and then you realize you've folded the beads in trying to count and trying to answer this question into an old pictogram for sacrifice. But as soon as you realize that, the bead slips out of your hand and it's sort of like the pictogram itself comes undone. But you swore you saw the old pictogram for sacrifice in the way you were holding the string.
So I think
on it.
Yeah. So I think with like I start and without even thinking about it, right? That natural curiosity just has me all of a sudden counting out the next question, right? Which is what sacrifice? Like sacrifice of what for what?
So that's 2 different questions. So each is
right. So I think it's right. So I think
is the first question?
I think it's going to be set right. I think the question is actually whose sacrifice, and Winter White can take that however she likes.
Rulers.
And so I look up at them and I say, I'm like a little winded. Like you can see, I'm sort of like that drained me a little bit. And I look up at the others and I say, the ruler's sacrifice is going to be found there, whatever that means. Did any of you? I can
ask you to make just your background. I think would automatically know this. You know that two brothers. I'm gonna give you a name in just a second.
Sorry, I didn't hear. Is this me or Rezan?
That is Rezan.
Yeah.
When you say the ruler's sacrifice out loud, you don't even need to make an intelligence check. The two brothers, the brothers Greencorner, Verdek and Ivan, are the people who attacked the valley. And it was only after Verdek died in some near last stand that almost wiped out the burner troops. Verdek mysteriously died during what was going to be a last stand. That Ivan was regathered the troops and finished conquering the valley. So I think ruler is the last answer you got there.
I turn. So ruler's sacrifice is there, whatever that may be, but I don't know how much of this I have left in me. But does anyone else have something they would ask of Winterwhite before we move on, before we head out?
Doesn't seem like her answers are that helpful anyway. Not for like practical purposes.
Ask her what danger lies below.
And I start counting. I want to make a save to try and keep that at 1.
Yep, go ahead. If you miss the save, it will go to 3.
I'm going to take that risk. And that was a 2.
Well done. Yeah, that's only a 1-point question. So what dangers lies below? Is that the question you're asking, Aurelia?
Yes.
Being loved is always a danger.
I think there's like the pulse that I'm getting when I hit that last one that indicates to me the last word danger. There's like a burn, like the pulse is hotter than usual, and that's
I think the specific words that come to you are professions of love are always a danger.
And I pull my hand back and it's scalded. And I say, I think that is all the beads have for us tonight. But it told me that the professions of love are always a danger.
I have no idea what that means.
I don't
The
think
gods are
running in
gods
there
are
our love for anyone, but
Gods
are too often cryptic.
Boss, what do you think we should get for our little venture? Presumably we want torches, by which he means, by the way, like flashlights.
Right.
And
maybe the other kind too, but definitely flashlights.
And hatchets. Maybe some rope. What else do you think we'll need? Aurelia, if you have thoughts from your archaeology.
Yes, we should have. I have a field kit, and includes things like everything we might need, except for perhaps for our protection. But rope, brushes, tools, examining glasses.
As cold as it's getting, you guys will also need heavier clothing.
Mhm. Yes, I have selected an outfit. I have.
Well, but between the stuff in the bungalow and the whatever the hotel can provide for us, can we basically get kitted out relatively quickly?
For a non-overnight, yeah, pretty quickly between what you have and things that the hotel staff have, barring things like galoshes, heavy-duty coats. For those watching at home, pictures of great winter outfits are being, yes, shared in chat, but I can't share them with you. But yes. I don't think you're looking at an expedition where you need pemmican and hardtack yet. But I think between that and then anything specific you want to carry besides winter kit or winter wear, any weapons you have, anything else you need to carry. I mean, like, again, you're not really expecting and I will include those really, really good looking winter hats in the gear for free without adding them as an extra item. Anything else you would want to take with you? But what you have, I'm assuming you have most things you would need.
Yeah, I just want to get some sort of 20s era dungeoneering gear kind of things for not really in a sense like I said, ropes, hatchets, flashlights, things that I don't really carry around on my ski trip normally.
Right.
But I'm expecting to go into
Things
dark
like that you can
places.
easily sort of grab out of the hotel.
Great.
I mean, they do get skiers as a lodge and have basic rescue facilities. You may have brought anything. Each person can carry 10 pieces of gear or 9 pieces of gear and 10 personal effects, which would include a small weapon.
Can we just say that we have some stuff more or less? And
Yeah. As long as anybody is not coming up with more than 10.
Okay.
Or not coming up with more than 9.
I have the
person.
toolkit and shovel that I left in the car in case we got stuck, which
Oh, yeah.
could include flashlights pretty easily.
Right. Mm-hmm.
oops, that's
And just make some notes about what kind of things you're carrying. And I may ask you at some point what you have in your hands.
Oh, I forgot to unmute when I was talking before.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
But just saying, like, so I definitely have like some of that archaeology type spelunking stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So like not a lot of it because I wasn't expecting to go on a full-on expedition, but like a small about like definitely rope and a shovel.
Oh, yeah.
Like I won't leave home without that. So we so I don't and then I have this field kit listed as one thing, but it's not really. However many things I end up pulling out of it will count to the 9.
all right. I'm ready to roll.
All right. All right. I think you all have enough. On But as you head out and head towards Bernarstad Hill, where the house is, I'd like you to all make a saving throw, and you treat this like just a normal roll. You're going to roll a d20 and try to get your saving throw number or under.
How is our saving throw calculated? Oh, I see. It's just listed. Okay.
Yeah, it should be listed there.
All right, so I'm just better at it than other people.
Yeah, there's wide difference between the classes on basic saving throw.
So is this poison, death, or a special melee attack?
Yeah, let's call it that. Yeah. It's
Which one?
brutal cold. It's poison, death, or special melee attack. I will consider that much like death.
Okay. Well, I guess I still failed because that would have made it a 7. So.
Okay. What'd you get total?
Never mind. Special melee attack. I still would have failed. I got an 11, and my saving throw was 6.
Okay. What about Aurelia and Razan?
I pass.
I got a 6 out of 7, so I passed.
All right, 8 out of 11.
And how did it go for you, Casimir?
Oh, I lied. It's 8 out of 7.
It went great. I got a 5 out of 10.
Okay. Vas and Aurelia, what are the gaps in your clothing that you did not protect sufficiently, that the cold creeps into as the wind peaks up, and at first it's just annoying, but by the time you get to Bernarstad Hill and find the house, it's cutting deep into you?
I think before I left the city, I borrowed ski gear and a heavy coat, but I borrowed them from someone who was smaller than me. So like, the skis are too short, for my height, and the coat is like, it's got gaps at the top, between the buttons, and the sleeves are too short. So like right between my gloves and the sleeves, it's like there's nothing covering my like wrists and arms, and like it's not a thing that you would notice until you get out and it's really cold, and then suddenly it becomes something you notice a lot.
And I think I have kind of inappropriate headgear that just sort of like it sits on the top of my head and keeps the heat from escaping. Like it's a hat that keeps me warm, but it doesn't come down over my ears. And so like I have a scarf that's designed to cover my neck and kind of my face, but I keep on trying to like get it up over the tips of my ears. And like, that's and it just like, I can't seem to get it. So like the my ears are near. I mean, you tell me the amount of damage, but like near frostbitten potentially. Like they're in a whatever state this weather will make them.
Aurelia, the cold leaves you red-faced and shaky. With tears just sort of still streaming down your eyes. It's going to take a moment for you to sort of recover yourself, and you're at disadvantage on charisma checks. Vas, the cold is just inside your bones, and you feel constantly like it's just about to like send you shuddering and shivering and coughing. And so it's disadvantage on constitution checks. At the door of the house is ajar. in the wind. In fact, the front door is sort of blown open. There's a vestibule with another door on the inside of the vestibule, but it's easy to step in out of the cold. And it's not a mansion. It's more of it's a nice cottage, 2-story. But both the first floor, parts of the second floor, and any cellar that's there is definitely embedded into the hillside. And the vestibule certainly puts you out of the wind.
So is this like a kind of like bag end situation?
It's more of it looks like a normal townhouse, except the hill is sort of up around part of the lower level, extending up into the second level. You could literally climb to one of the second floor windows. So everything has bars over them.
Boss, I'll follow your lead.
So, I mean, do we just want to go straight in?
Do you think we're expected?
I hope not.
Well, do we see a side entrance?
Somebody would need to go out and sort of scout around.
I think I kind of reluctantly, shivering, yeah, I'll go look. And go back out and look around.
Vas, make a Constitution check.
Wow. 19?
Oh no.
Vas, roll a d6.
5.
That is how much damage is sort of done to you in your shaking and trembling, getting outside. There's definitely a way to sort of climb up to one of the second floor windows. You could probably dislocate the bars from there. They're not terribly secure. Vreli is not a high crime area.
And that we could use as a lever to.
And there's certainly no light on that window.
Cool.
And the noise would certainly cover any sound. The noise of the wind, which is picking up, would certainly cover any sound. But it took you a bit to find it, which is.
I'd slug through some snowdrifts and.
Yeah.
When you get back, I offer you a nip of brandy from my flask.
I will happily take it.
This is not a mean one, but make a Constitution check.
With disadvantage.
Yeah.
Oh, I passed that one.
What'd you get? So which means you double pass. So yeah. Let's roll a d6 again. And let's treat it as a d3.
Treat it as a d3. So that's divided by 2 and round up or round down?
Round down.
1.
Or round off, really.
Isn't it just like 1 to 2 is 1?
Yeah.
2 to 3 to 4 is 2.
4
okay. 2 then.
Okay. Yeah, you heal back 2 of that damage just from calming down from the brandy.
Good man. Good man.
It braces you. Are y'all headed up there? I won't make Voss make another Constitution check, but the rest of you will if you want to head up to go in through that second floor window in the wind.
Do the ones of us who have well done cold gear still need to make Constitution rolls?
Yeah.
I'm happy to scout. I'm happy to scout ahead.
Oh, I think we have a way to go.
Okay.
Yeah, you can either go in the front door or you can climb up to this second window, the second floor window.
Yeah, I say we climb.
Yeah.
Everyone not Voss who's already suffered this, go ahead and make a Constitution saving throw.
A saving throw or a Constitution check?
Sorry. I'm switching systems, Sam. I apologize.
Well, that's a 20. I have a pretty good Constitution too.
I got an 11 out of 12, so I passed.
I got a 12 out of 10, so I fail.
Let's do. You guys are not as exposed as Voss, but Aurelia. Give me a. You're not as exposed as Voss because you didn't have to scout. But each of you who failed take 2 damage.
That was kind of you. Thank you.
I mean, you sent the wounded person out to scout.
I am quite close to dead right now.
You're fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine. It will be fine. I'm not really worried.
Just stay.
And that's by the time you sort of pull the bars up enough to open the window and climb in. Rizan, who's used to the winter weather here, is in fine shape.
So I have a first aid kit, and I noticed that Aurelia is not doing so great. Is there any way I could, help her?
Try a wisdom check because you have the first aid kit.
That's a 3, and my wisdom is like a 10. So
Yeah. Roll a d3 with the maximum. Yeah. Aurelia, put back 1 hit point as a sort of between the skin cream and the smelling salts and all the things that go into a first aid kit. You're a little kind of revived and a little less chilled, but you've still sort of deeply shaken and your skin is red. And your face feels that just came in, still feels that sort of just came in from the cold in a much more deep and lasting way.
I chatter my thanks at Rizan.
You're in a small bedroom. It looks like a guest bedroom. There's a couple of small, innocuous sort of novels and chapbooks on a small book stand, a little bitty writing desk, a full-size bed, an electric lamp, all off. Also a bronze sculpture of a wolf kind of sitting on the writing desk.
Okay. Is anyone in here?
Nope.
Okay. I think I grab a blanket off the bed and hand it to Aurelia and here, warm up.
Drape it over myself and I thank her.
I think
I thank him. Sorry.
I walk over to the door and I quietly lean against it and I try to listen to see if I can hear anything outside.
There's definitely moving around going on downstairs or somewhere outside the door. You're guessing downstairs from the direction. Why don't you make a wisdom check again there, Rizan?
That's a 2.
It feels like when there's a movement, there's like a slight scrape to the movement, like a tapping, but not of a full shoe. But it's definitely coming from downstairs.
I think I just signal to the others and I say, like, is there any way to determine, like, maybe how many, like a rough estimation of how many people I hear moving around?
Mm-hmm. You're guessing 3?
So I just like throw some hand signals at everyone and like 3 people downstairs.
You're guessing 3. A couple others just sound like movement, like a nice boot or shoe. But there's definitely at least one that sounds like something scraping.
Any way to get sort of line of sight on these people?
You would need to leave this room,
Mm-hmm.
possibly from the top of the stairs.
Okay. I have a long rifle. I can cover you.
And I look back at you and I'm like, and suddenly I'm the brave one?
I was talking to Voss.
Although if you want to go, feel free.
Mine is not to fight. Mine is to live to see another day.
That is a very wise. That is the words of someone who's entirely too wise to be with this group. What are you? Why are you hanging out with us?
I never like to think of myself as a dumb human.
And I, kind of very slowly and quietly open the door and ease out and hope there's nobody standing right outside.
And Voss, you want to make sure you're keeping your melee stuff in mind, your melee abilities from your playbook.
Yeah.
That's not to, I don't want to distract you, but yeah. Voss, why don't you roll dexterity?
$15. The dice did not like me tonight.
15?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you get to very near the staircase and you depress your foot and then you feel it before you hear it. You feel the board keep moving.
Yeah.
By just a hair, and then the creak almost as soon as you feel it. And then you hear a voice downstairs go, "What was that?"
I just freeze.
And you hear a snarl.
Oh, good.
And that's where we should leave it for tonight.